What's going on, team? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. So in this video, we're going to talk about Nvidia, ticker symbol Nvda, and we'll go over their financial summary, so their revenue, the net income, their cash versus debt. Then we will dive into the company's most recent quarterly earnings, which they announced at the end of May. Now, Nvidia is also on a very strange fiscal year, which ends on January 31st and begins on February 1st. So it goes from February till the end of January of next year. So right now they are in fiscal year 2021, which is what they reported at the end of May. So their first quarter was February through April, so February, March, and April. And their second fiscal quarter for the year 2021 was May, June, and July, which we are going to find out towards the end of August. On Wednesday, August 19th is when they report their quarterly earnings for the second fiscal quarter for the fiscal year 2021. So I know it can be a little bit confusing. Trust me, when I was doing my research, I was a little bit confused as well. But all you need to know about is that they're already done with their first fiscal quarter for 2021, and they will be reporting their second fiscal quarter earnings on Wednesday, August 19th. So we'll break down the financial summary, we'll look at the most recent quarterly earnings, and then we'll do a technical analysis on my TradingView platform to look at the stock price, where it's been trading, how it's been performing. We'll compare that with the S&P 500 and see whether it's been outperforming the market or not. And then I'll also compare the stock price with AMD to kind of understand how these both are related to each other and how they've been trading against each other. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. Also, make sure that you subscribe if you're new and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and technical breakdowns. So this right here is going to be their financial summary. So their revenues have been growing consistently at an average rate of close to 18.13%, with close to $11 billion in revenue as of the fiscal year 2020, which are slightly down from the previous year at close to $11.7 billion and are up from 2018 when they were at around $9.7 billion. So their gross profit margins are strong at around 62%, while averaging around 60% mark. When we talk about profitability, the company has been generating strong net income at close to $2.8 billion as of the most recent fiscal year, and the net income has also been growing at an average rate of close to 29% year over year, while the net income margin is decent at 29.11%, which essentially means for every $1 in revenue that Nvidia generates, about 29 cents trickles down to the bottom line as net income. Now, talking about their EPS and revenue estimates going back 4 to 5 quarters, you guys will notice the company has consistently beaten both their EPS and revenue estimates, and the consensus for their upcoming quarterly earnings for the EPS is close to $1.97 per share, and the revenue is close to $3.65 billion. So it'll be really interesting for us to kind of see how Nvidia performed in the second fiscal quarter 2021, which again, they report on Wednesday, August 19th. So now looking at the company's balance sheet, the cash is sitting strong at over $16 billion versus their long-term debt, which is well under $8 billion, which gives the company a strong cash to debt ratio of over 2. Meaning for every dollar in debt the company has, it has well over $2 in cash to cover for it. Similarly, looking at their total assets versus total liabilities, their total assets exceed their total liabilities by more than 3 times, which is a great indicator for the company's financial strength. And looking at the company's free cash flow to debt ratio, which is just over 0.5, that essentially means if the company wanted to, they can utilize their free cash flows to pay down their entire long-term debt, and they can do that in just under 2 years. Now, that being said, we're going to jump over to their most recent quarterly report, kind of dissect their revenue breakdown and where the money is actually coming from. So there are 3 to 4 key business segments, and then we'll jump over to my TradingView platform to do some technical analysis on Nvidia. Alright guys, so this right here is going to be Nvidia's first fiscal quarter earnings. Their total revenues were up 39% year over year at over $3 billion, mostly led by data centers and gaming, which we will go over in just a minute. But that being said, data center revenue more specifically is up 80% year over year at well over $1.14 billion, which is a record for the company for this business segment. Now, talking also about the company's recent acquisition of Mellanox, and they closed the deal on April 27th for close to $7 billion. And Mellanox is also a company in a very similar space as Nvidia, and they focus on technology related to end-to-end Ethernet servers and storage infrastructure. As Nvidia says in this report, that Mellanox's financials will be included in Nvidia's second fiscal quarter earnings in 2021, which will be reported in a few weeks towards the end of August. So I'm really interested to see how these companies team up together and how strong Nvidia becomes after the acquisition of Mellanox. Now, as they mentioned that for the March quarter alone, Mellanox's revenue grew 40% year over year to a record $429 million. Now, moving to the financial summary for Nvidia, revenues for the first quarter stood again at over $3 billion, with gross margins were steady at well over 65%, while the net income was close to $1 billion, which represents a healthy net income margin of well close to 30%. Now, breaking down their revenue segments, gaming was actually up 27% year over year, while being down 10% quarter over quarter due to some seasonality. And they also mentioned how Minecraft is the most popular PC game in the world, which was launched on their RTX product. So looking at the data centers, which saw a significant jump of over 80%, which we have already gone over year, and going up 18% quarter over quarter and exceeding $1 billion mark for the first time in the company's history, mostly because of the increased demand in the hyperscale data industry, which is mostly driven by companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon with their AWS that requires these data centers to actually store their infrastructure and their servers. The one business segment that I'm particularly really interested about is going to be their automotive segment, where Nvidia provides these GPUs to car manufacturers like XPeng using their Drive AGX chips. Now, for the upcoming quarter guidance, they foresee revenue of close to $3.65 billion, with automotive expected to actually decline about 40% quarter over quarter. Now, that being said, their margins will be steady at close to 60% yet again, and the company's growth drivers remain some of the most forward-looking sectors like gaming, AI, virtual reality, and autonomous driving. So now we're going to jump over to my TradingView platform to look at the stock price and compare that with the S&P 500 and AMD to understand where the next key support and resistance levels are going to be moving forward ahead of their earnings call on August 19th. Alright guys, so here we are inside my TradingView platform looking at Nvidia stock, ticker symbol Nvda, and as of the time of this video and the most recent close on Friday, July 31st, the stock closed at $424.59, and it was pretty much flat on the day, up just about 1 basis point. And looking at some of the analyst estimates, there's about 36 analysts offering a price target for Nvidia, with an average price target of $412 per share, with a high estimate of close to $500 and a low estimate of $260 per share. So you can see how there's a significant variance between the low estimate and the high estimate. And now we're going to jump over to the technical analysis and kind of look at Nvidia stock and also compare that with the S&P 500 and AMD stock. So looking at Nvidia right now, you can see how it's up quite a lot on the year as it is, up over 80% year to date, up just about 80% in the last 6 months, up over 50% in the last 3 months. In the last month alone, it's up over 11%, and this week it went up over 4%. The market cap sits at just over $260 billion, with an EPS on a 12-month trailing basis is $5.43, with a dividend yield of close to 15 basis points, so it's essentially non-existent, and the price to earnings ratio, or the PE ratio, is close to 79.28. So this right here is going to be some quick summaries based on their income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow on both the annual and the quarterly basis, which we have already gone over. And this right here are going to be the EPS expectations. And right now you guys can see the upcoming earnings, August 19th, and the estimate is close to $1.97 per share in EPS. So now we're going to jump over to the weekly chart, and you guys will notice that this is nothing but an ascending pattern. It's been consistently going up, making higher highs and higher lows, and it has just been aggressively pushing higher. So going back as far as December of 2012, when Nvidia was trading at close to $11 per share, and since then it has gone up over 3,463% in that time period in the last 7 to 8 years. So it goes without saying that it has handsomely outperformed the S&P 500. So if I were to overlay the S&P 500 on this chart and kind of bring that up as well, you guys will notice that in the same time period, the S&P has actually gone up close to about, let's see, so this right here is going to be the S&P 500, and if you were to go back as far as December or September of 2011, when the S&P was trading at close to 1,100, in that same time period, it has gone up close to 200%, while Nvidia, like I said earlier, has gone up over 3,600%. So now we're going to compare that with AMD as well, just to get a really good understanding on how AMD has been performing in that same time period. So this right here is going to be AMD's stock price in blue, and going back as far as, let's go back as far as February of 2009, when AMD was essentially trading at close to $2.30, right around that level. And since then, AMD has gone up actually 4,000%, so quite aggressively going up in the last 11 years. And Nvidia in that same time period has gone up close to over 7,000%. So definitely very, very significant growth and aggressive momentum for both of these companies in the semiconductor industry. So now we're going to just look at the Nvidia stock and kind of highlight some key support and resistance levels and what we need to watch moving forward from a technical standpoint. So right now, if I were to bring out the MACD and the RSI, you guys will kind of notice that it is trading higher. So it has pushed up quite a bit on the daily chart. So you can see how the RSI is close to 62.25. So approaching that 70 level, which is considered a little bit overbought. And the MACD has just been peaking out, but it's not showing any signs of a reversal. Even though on a technical standpoint, it does seem a little bit overextended and overbought, but Nvidia has just been aggressively pushing higher and higher week over week. So if I were to kind of zoom in on the chart and kind of understand, from a price action standpoint, what could potentially act as any type of resistance, I'm going to go ahead and put a line right there, which is going to be $432.18, which obviously is going to be the 52-week high or the all-time high for the stock at $431.69. And the reason is very simple, because that has also been kind of like the price point where the stock essentially got rejected here, going back as far as July 13th, when the stock hit that level and then essentially pulled back 8 to 9%, right? So we saw a rejection at that price point, and right now we are approaching that level once again on the daily time frame. If you were to look at the 4-hour chart, you'll kind of notice that we were at that level right around the $427 mark when we hit that level, and then essentially pulled back again close to over 7%. So this right here is going to be kind of like a triple top for Nvidia, so something that I will personally keep a very close eye on, and I will go ahead and create an alert over 432 just so I get notified if Nvidia is actually hitting an all-time high and is pushing above that resistance level. In terms of the support, I'm personally going to keep a close eye on this level right here at $391 to $400 level, because it's very easy to understand that this has previously acted as a really strong support for Nvidia stock, and the pattern has essentially been trading in between this range, between the $432 level as being a resistance and $400 level being a very strong support. So based on previous patterns, I wouldn't be surprised if the pattern essentially gets rejected here and has a minor pullback down to this $400 support, which is going to represent a drop of close to 6 to 7%, which could also be a really good buying opportunity in my opinion, because the 200 moving average, which is the blue line, is also going to diverge into the price right around that level, which can again be acting as a really strong support for Nvidia stock. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my quick technical breakdown on Nvidia stock, and we went over the complete financial summary and the fundamentals for Nvidia. As always, if you did, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and technical breakdowns. As always, happy investing, and I will see you guys in the next video.